Hey y'all, Josh here, RK Motors content guru and friendly Appalachian Frankenstein. Today we're going to be taking a look at this sweet 1929 Ford Model A pickup. But first, today's trivia question. What historic Ford manufacturing facility did the Model A kick off production at? So, a little bit of history on the Ford Model A. The Ford Model T, which was the predecessor to this car, was a revolutionary automobile, as we all know. But Henry Ford did not like change, so the Model T got a little long in the tooth. A lot of people call it the Tin Lizzie. But mid-20s, I guess, Ford finally ordered a redesign that was going to be a no carryover car. So the new generation of Ford would not have any parts in common with the Model T that's currently in production. That gave rise to the Model A. It was called the Model A because it was supposed to be a clean sheet car, so they were starting over with the Model A moniker. 1928, the Model A debuted. It was styled by Henry's son, Edsel Ford, and a quick bit of trivia, it was the first Ford product to use the Ford Blue Oval. Obviously, this one uses a black oval for stylistic reasons, but it was a huge hit, very common in the hobby for hot rods, late 20s, early 30s Fords, because they sold so many of these cars back in the day. I think by February of 29, they had sold 1 million. By July of 29, they had sold 2 million, and so on and so on. This was available in 9 different body styles. One of them was a pickup, like you see here. This specific Model A pickup is a ground up build. It's very nice. Obviously street rodding flavor in mind. It's an all steel Brookville Roadster body that's been stretched 6 inches. As you can tell, the cab is a little bit longer. It's had quite a lot of customization, professional metalwork on the grille shell, professional metalwork on the cowl and the visor, some work on the running boards, and out back, customized roll pan. So a great debate in the hobby is what's better for a build like this, fiberglass or a steel body. This Brookville Roadster body is obviously a reproduction. The guys at Brookville have been in the business for decades, and they're a great source for bodies and body parts. But you can also get fiberglass bodies. And that's an especially good thing for certain years that maybe they don't make reproduction steel for. Both have their advantages and disadvantages. As far as authenticity, of course, steel is going to be viewed a little bit better, and that's why it commands usually a little bit higher price. But also, the durability of fiberglass is a little better. So, if you're in a parking lot, for example, someone slams the door against your car, you're going to have a dent with steel. Whereas fiberglass, you might not have anything because it's it's a little bit tougher in that regard. The main enemies to both of these, of course, with steel is rust. So if you live in a moist environment, rust is going to be a concern. And with fiberglass is heat. So if you have any extreme heat situations, it can warp fiberglass panels. But at the end of the day, either is a great choice. You can make, especially if you're doing like a custom street rod, ideally you have to do a lot of chopping. You can buy bodies that are pre-chopped and pre-formed. You really can't go wrong either way. Let's have a look under the hood. So the first thing I want to point out is anytime you're dealing with a street rod that has something like a 4-piece hood, you have to be very careful not to get the paint right here around the cowl and the fender, depending on how close the fenders get to the hood. Because a lot of times you can chip the paint if you're not careful. So you're going to want to lift straight up and always watch this corner, because a lot of times it'll hit here and cause scratches. This one has a nice little edge guard on it. There's a support right back here. Props just like that. So we're looking at a Smeding Performance 383. It's a stroker motor. The guys at Smeding have been building crate engines for, I think, 30 years or so. This one makes about 400 horsepower. It has a COMP Thumpr roller cam and a roller valve train in it. So it hits a nice lope once it's settled down with idle. Aluminum heads. And of course you have your nice compact Sanderson headers right here. As you can tell, there's not much room between the door and where the engine block is. It's a much bigger engine than what would have originally been in this car, of course. I've had to recess the firewall as well to fit. Let's take a look inside the truck. Okay, so obviously a custom interior. Got a reclining glide bench seat. It's got color keyed thread on it, and 3-point safety harnesses. It's actually very nice. The extra 6 inches in the cab gives a lot more room than what's traditionally in these, something like this, like a 29 or 32 Ford. I'm 6'9", probably over 330 pounds, and I can actually fit in this truck. So pretty much anybody can fit in here and drive it and be fairly comfortable. Got a painted dash to match the truck, which, by the way, this is 1940 Ford Mandarin Maroon. Cut down 40 Ford steering wheel to match the paint. SoCal telemetry with GPS speedometer. Of course, classic auto air, heat, and air conditioning. And behind the seat, you have a full Bluetooth audio system with a subwoofer. Now that we're back inside, let's take a look under the truck. So the first thing you'll notice is the quality of the restoration of the build. It's very nice. Everything's nice and painted. This is a TCI chassis. It's an aftermarket chassis that's been stretched 6 inches to accommodate the stretched profile of the truck. Up front, we have a nice 4-bar suspension, a bunch of polished components. This is what they call a drop axle right here. It's very common in street routing, very common in older cars. It allows the car to sit a little lower, moves the mass of the engine, which is going to be the heaviest part, down some to provide more stability, and increases your option for bigger wheel sizes. Also have a Durant monoleaf spring. That's also pretty common in street rods. You know, in 1929, when they originally built these cars, the transverse leaf was standard. So it was really for, I guess, dimension and durability standards. So it was a pretty compact setup to begin with. And then, as opposed to a coil spring, you know, if you break a coil spring, you're kind of out of commission. But if you're on a road and you have a multi-leaf spring up front and you break one of the leaves, you can still get somewhere to repair the spring. You know, you're not stuck on the side of the road. So out back, have a 4-bar setup out here as well. Adjustable very sharp coilovers. Much better ride than traditional leaf springs. Currie 9-inch axle. It's that very common Ford 9-inch axle that we've talked so much about. Posi-traction differential with 350 gears. This is a 700R4 4-speed transmission. It's a very common GM transmission. This one actually came from GearStar. So that's significant because GearStar builds off-the-shelf transmissions specifically for performance applications. So they're building these transmissions to like a horsepower or a torque rating or for a specific use, as opposed to maybe somebody just pulling one out of a field and rebuilding it. Got a rack-and-pinion steering unit. It's not power, but it is rack-and-pinion. Wilwood disc brakes at every corner. So something that's really common on custom and street rod cars is you have your brake hardware under the floor. So we have Wilwood master cylinder right here. We have Wilwood proportioning valve right there. Nice little transmission cooler. Then you have also the battery. To relocate stuff like this under the floor, it cleans up the engine bay and it gets rid of a little bit of the weight on the front of the car. Nice large diameter exhaust system with an X pipe and Flowmaster hush power mufflers. Give you a nice traditional sound. And on the outside, American Racing Torq Thrust 2s. These look a little more traditional in style because they have painted centers and widened rear fenders, of course, to accommodate bigger tires. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this detailed look at our 1929 Ford Model A pickup. Remember to like, subscribe, and comment, and leave the answer to the trivia question below. Thanks.